Your hair is your crown of glory, and your skin is the armor that you wear when you go out into the world. So seeing my son confident, especially the child that they said wasn't going to live, to see another day, that he has autism, he's not going to be great, but for him to see him go out there and be a businessman and try to come up with concepts or ideas or recommendations, it just lights my heart, and it just puts another fire underneath my butt. You can't tell me there's nothing that I can't do.
Welcome back to Unknown and Talented. My name is Jelan Abrams. Today I have a special guest. Her name is Liz. She's the creator and founder of Tiny Human Skin. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So I have a bunch of questions. I did a bunch of research, but I just want you to be able to introduce yourself to the audience first. So anything you want to talk about, you just introduce yourself.
All right. Well, hello, beautiful people. My name is Liz Love. I'm the CEO and founder of Tiny Human Skincare and Simply Liz Love. I'm a military officer who transitioned into, honestly, makeup. And in the midst of the pandemic, I saw that my son was struggling severely with eczema and acne so bad that I decided to kind of develop and create my own solution. Henceforth, Tiny Human Skincare came into fruition, and we've been going now for 2 years strong.
Okay. Well, that's good. I do love it. I know you have another business as well, other than Tiny Human Skin.
Right. Simply Liz Love is honestly a blog that I created to document my transition out of the military into this realm of beauty. It's kind of unorthodox for a military officer, especially a female, to talk about beauty and skin. And I really struggled so much with that transition and being a mom. It's like, how do you do this and still feel beautiful in the process? So I started it and launched a blog to document my journey, and I also provided services as well.
Okay, so talk more about that, about being in the military and then transition to beauty. I know you said it was a struggle, but talk more about like actually getting out that box and actually doing it.
Honestly, it came out of necessity. I honestly booked a photographer to do some work for me and my family, and she loved my makeup. She said, "Who did your makeup?" And I was like, "Well, I did it." She's like, "Well, I would love to hire you, honestly, full time to kind of do makeup for some of my clients." So literally, I came out of the box with a wealth of clients, and this young lady really just put me on game, like what programs and services that were available for military spouses to really get your career up and going. So I started off with makeup, and I did that for a while, and then I decided to take makeup a little bit further with becoming a licensed esthetician. And then once I became licensed, I just hit the ground running with like the limitless possibilities of honestly what I could do in the realm of beauty.
Okay, so how did you get your start from learning how to do makeup then? 'Cause I know a lot of women struggle, like the one you talked to. Struggle. How'd you get that start?
Well, I attended an HBCU. Okay, first and foremost.
Okay. Well, which one? Which one?
The University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. I was actually the 80th Miss University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. So makeup was just a thing that I really had to learn how to do. And being a deeply melanated woman, it was really hard to find things that match my shade. So literally, I'm buying 3 or 4 products to probably mix a concealer and get that to match my complexion, or a foundation. Makeup is so much more advanced than what it was 20, 30 years ago in comparison to what it is now. So it was a lot of you in the kitchen and mixing and making the things that you initially wanted. So when it came time for me to like create a product, I've literally been doing it all these years with makeup and with all the different clients based their skincare needs. Like with me becoming a licensed esthetician, I was better able to tailor makeup for their skin type, because what you do for dry skin and oily skin will be 2 different type of prepping situation. So I kind of just fell in love with the science of it, honestly.
Okay, so pretty much you took that into making this product for your son, because like learning so much about skin types, you said oily, dry skins, that helped you create Tiny Human Skin?
Absolutely. Like in the midst of the pandemic, my son had acne so bad, I realized that there aren't any products that were spa quality for children. It's really just total body whenever it came to anything with children and what they put on their bodies. And the formulations were honestly so damaging. And when I went through the Target Building Better Products program, I met with the EPA and all of a lot of the certification of the different systems that they use for certifying their products as clean to kind of really help me develop my formulation. I realized that this is really a need out there in the world, because people don't know that there are chemicals and toxins out there that could genetically alter and change a child's development from topically applying it on the skin. And I wanted to kind of be that bridge of education for the consumers.
Really? And how so? Because I was not familiar with that at all. You said certain things could change. Say it again. I'm sorry. Yeah. Go.
So there are chemicals. There are some chemicals and toxins that are out in the with that are in chemical formulations that could genetically alter a child's development. You know, as they get older, those first initial years of your development of your body and your brain are so quintessential. And if it's genetically modified or changed, you know, at any point in time, it could be life changing for children. So I don't know if you've seen like an uptick in autism and all these respiratory issues and things like that within children. A lot of it is because of environmental issues.
Wow. Okay, okay, wow. Because I did a little bit, like me, I dealt with eczema growing up, still deal with eczema now, deal with acne growing up. I'm better at it now, but I was like doing research on that and finding out that a lot of the products they have are not good for our skin because like they're good for everybody else's skin, but not really our skin. Did you really dive deep into that as well when creating Tiny Human Skin?
Absolutely. People of color are twice as likely to have chemicals and toxins within their formulation in comparison to other brands that are out there on the market. And a lot of it has to deal with access, like the price point and to get into getting some of the higher end qualities are so astronomically like unrealistic to even ask for starting a product. We're kind of pigeon-toed into situations where we'll have to choose the lesser, you know, of all the evils, and the lesser of all the evils, they probably haven't went through the appropriate certifications to be certified clean. So it's really, really important that people read their labels and also verify the sources of which people are getting these products from. And I'm just so happy that there's a new wave of clean beauty that's forcing that and endorsing that because America has some of the loosest laws when it comes to regulating children's products specifically.
Wow. Wow. So even if, like, say, a product says for babies, is that still something that's for babies or probably not?
It may or may not be. In
Oh,
most
wow.
cases, it's not. A lot of the products that are out there on the market are not safe for babies. We clearly see Johnson& Johnson and their ongoing issues that they're having with their powder, the baby powders and lotions, and how it's causing cancer, you know, in so many people. It honestly, like a lot of the claims that go out there for the FDA, a child can't necessarily file a complaint with the FDA. It's typically a parent. And in the first 2 years of being a parent, you're so busy just trying to figure out life. Who has time to really sit out and file a complaint with the FDA and go through this process that takes a year and a half for to let the world know that there's an issue? You know, when you're a parent, you're just going to transition over to the next product that works. So I am just here, you know, to be a conduit, you know, of this information and share it because it's something that is harming us as people, especially Black people. Because even with these toxins and chemicals, after you rinse them off of the body, they end up in our water, they end up in our land, they end up in our food sources. It results in cheaper property value in a lot of these areas in which people are living. So it's like a systemic issue that the government has certified as a pandemic that no one's paying attention to.
No, that's deep. I definitely know they're gonna start doing like not farm chicken. What is it? Like lab grown chickens. I know they don't really care about what they're feeding us. It's gonna be crazy in a
It's
minute.
crazy and it's insane. And so if it's like that with the food, imagine what it's like with the products. It's far worse. There's so many unnecessary chemicals and toxins and dyes that are in the food that we're eating. It's even worse from the products that we're using because people just think if I can't read the name, oh, it's okay. No, you need to Google everything.
Yeah, yeah. I can't read anything. Half of the stuff I'm buying, I'm like, what is this? But it's definitely crazy out here. But I want to talk more about actually creating this product for your son. So not when you sold it. So he was dealing with. You didn't say eczema. You said it was something else.
Well, my
He was
son
dealing
does have eczema, but the masking is really where it got really bad. But because of course with eczema, heat just triggers the flare ups, and it was like him wearing a microwave on his face for 8 hours a day. So he does have autism, and at that point in time, in the midst of the pandemic, he was having speech therapy, occupational therapy, ABA therapy, and it was 8 hours a day, 4 to 5 days a week when we finally figured out the therapy to really get him on the right track. And it was difficult to watch him just scratching on his face. He's 3 or 4 years old. He's just like, I know I like this place because it's helping me be better, but also this is killing my face. So at that point in time, I realized we really need to develop a skincare regimen. Like skincare is a real lifestyle. Let's start helping him learn those healthy habits as a child. And with me being a licensed esthetician, I did have access to some higher grade forms of products, which did help. But sometimes some of the formulations, even though they were simple, was too harsh. Like it would be like a tingling sensation sometimes with some of the formulations. So I do have a little bit of a background in biology, so and chemistry. So I was like, I'm gonna tinker around and see what I can do with it. So honestly, I partnered with a chemist and we started on the basis of the formulation. And after I got the basis of the formulation right, I started to shop around and take it to different manufacturers to see if they would be willing to adhere to my guidelines. I went as far as Costa Rica, honestly, to go and research and try to find different companies and manufacturing facilities to see how distribution would go, to see how formulation would go from beginning to end. Because I really wanted 100% ownership. And I kept coming across companies that just wanted to white label it, just put my name on it, or tell me what ingredients I could or couldn't have in it. And I'm like, no, that's not what's happening here. So it took honestly about 2 years to find someone to really make what I want, and it was a black woman, honestly, that did it for me.
Wow. No, that's amazing. So I want to stuck back into actually creating the product. So I know you said you found a chemist and then you had to go. So did it take you the 2 years to actually go to Costa Rica and go to all these different places to get that product made, or just find the person that can make it for you? Because I know like the chemist had all the ingredients and everything.
Right. Honestly, I went through about 4 or 5 different iterations of making it. Um, and at each level, I met a different chemist or a different facility or a different thing. And I had what I made in house. I knew exactly what that was like. Can this be duplicated and can it be replicated without my hands touching it? Is honestly what I was looking for. So I was looking for a factory to make what I had. And it was difficult trying to get the cycle times right, for the different portions and parts of the ingredients. And I was literally just shopping around, going from place to place to place. I probably went through 6 different manufacturers before I found the one that I have today.
Wow. So explain that process, because I'm thinking like when I'm thinking of somebody making it, I'm just like, you email them, do this and bring it back. But you said you actually went to Costa Rica and like was watching them. Like how was that experience?
Oh, it was incredible, honestly. At that point in time, I'm like, I think I'm reaching boss level. Of what I want, where I'm like literally going to all these different factories, walking around. They're giving me tours of what their process is like. Because for me, I didn't want to just say I'm a clean product and that's it. I want to make sure that it was adhering strictly to my guidelines for cleanliness from sourcing in Costa Rica. So it's a beautiful place. It's a internationally protected rainforest there. So like I just loved how they practiced formulation, if you will. It was more so of like a herbal based type of chemistry in comparison to like a chemical base, which is really what I wanted. I wanted it to be as natural as possible. So it was a refreshing experience. It felt good to have the language to go back and forth and talk about each part of the process, from the formulation to large scale manufacturing to logistics and distribution and how that would look like, and really managing it all out. It really gave me time to like get the business right, if you will. So I wanted everything to be right first, because it is an investment that you're making to do a lot of this stuff. So it was really important for me to like the person that I was doing business with, not just accept the fact that this is going to be the person that's going to handle this portion of my business.
Hmm. And what is your relationship now that once the product is pretty much made and you're like selling it, do you still have to like communicate with them, or is it just like just order it and they deliver it?
Well, it's just order and delivery. Like if there's a modification or something like that I will want to make to the formulation, I would pretty much talk to the chemist. And of course, with anything, there's a testing period that you have to go through with each and every change that you make. There's a documentation process that has to go along with that, because this is still something that you're giving to people. And I want to make sure that I'm doing everything within my power to document everything and to make sure it's as natural and as clean as possible. So it's a process. It's not just, oh, you add this. Well, it's not for me. It's my process. Now, how other people handle their business, it may be different, but how I choose to do things is work with the chemist, do a testing period for just myself, then do a testing period with a small population of people, and then from there it'll be prepared for sale.
Okay, all right. So are you always an entrepreneur? 'Cause I know you said you was in the military, and then you started off just because she wanted, the lady wanted makeup. But were you always have like entrepreneur spirit?
No, honestly, my goal is to go on and be like an army general. I really wanted to be like a really cool army general that did things in military intelligence and science. I was just really obsessed with how our government did things in the world. So I had no idea that I would be an entrepreneur. Honestly, the birth of my child kind of forced me into becoming an entrepreneur because he needed me so much. On the day that he was born, he needed brain surgery, like literally on the day he was born. And even before he was born, we had a whole bunch of infertility issues. So I chose motherhood. I chose to be a mom, and motherhood is what kind of pushed me into entrepreneurship because I wanted to be there for every and anything happening in his life.
Okay. So speak on trying to balance being a mother and now being an entrepreneur, because I know that being an entrepreneur is tough. I know me trying to do things every single day. I'm talking to people daily about the struggle. How is that balance in being a mother and also running a business?
I think the biggest thing is that you have to realize that things happens in seasons. Like sometimes we may be mad at God, like why is this season slower than others, or why is this season faster than others? And I have to remember that it's not just me that's a part of this equation. I have a husband. He deserves my time. I have a child, and he deserves my time. And it wasn't healthy in the very beginning parts of me running my business being so aggressive about my goals. I didn't make time for the things and even myself, which was important. So the biggest lesson that I had to learn is that there are seasons. And in those seasons, it's so important to still keep my priorities the priority. Like it may feel like some things are urgent, but always tackle God, family, you, business. That's literally the order that it should go into. I know a lot of times we try to make business go before all those things. Like I only have a set period of time in which I do things every day, and it's up to me to respect that time and to get the things done. So that's how I've been balancing it over time.
Perfect. I love that. I love that because the business, a lot of, like you said, a lot of people will try to put that business before everything else, and then everything else is falling apart. And then if you have a successful business with nothing else, you don't have anything. So.
Right. And then I also think too, like people try to force their business to work in quarters, and that's not how business is supposed to be ran. In my opinion, you think about the infinite. Like I know I have these goals and things that I want to hit in these quarters, but in the long term, I always like to look at what do I want this business to be? Where do I want this to end up at? And if this season things didn't work, okay, that doesn't mean it won't work in the next season. So just remembering that it is an infinite that I'm planning for, not this quarter.
I love that. I love that. It's definitely looking at that bigger picture. So now we went from already having the product created, now going to sell it, because that's a whole nother thing. You're a boss already going to Costa Rica and going to these places, but now what does that look like to actually go and sell this product?
So that is honestly where I am at this current phase, is at the selling phase of really building this product. I know for me, I really want to like focus on the notoriety of it. So I was very intentional about the places that I went and sold the product at. I knew I didn't have the bandwidth to manage online sales completely 110% at the range in which I wanted it to work at. So I'm kind of honestly testing out the markets. Do I want a third party logistics company to manage it? Do I want to just have seasonal orders? Do I want to just continue to do the large expos and experiences, which has honestly been my focus at this year because I want to build a relationship with my customer. So I told myself this year, I'm going to focus on markets. I'm going to focus on expos. I'm going to focus on things that really do align with my brand. And I feel like it's been the best thing possible for me to do. I host a lot of small sip and sees in different cities, like different pop ups, if you will. We've been in Washington, D.C., we've been in Raleigh, we've done some things in Memphis. So we travel around a lot to really just kind of really build up the buzz around the brand.
Okay, so what is sip and see? I've never heard of that.
So a sip and see, a lot of times, like babies, when people have children, they'll have like a sip and see. We can come over, you can have a cocktail, you can come and see the baby, and you
Okay.
can just mix and mingle with people. So I kind of did the same exact thing with Tiny Human. I had a sip and see. So I invited people to come. I had cocktails, I had libations, there were activities for kids and their mother, to kind of come and have fun. And we learned about skincare together. So it was a really
Okay.
good experience.
So at these events, are you just selling your products, or are you just pretty much like teaching them more about not the message? What am I looking for? More of the I can't. I'm stuck on the words, but like a
Brand
kind of
awareness.
yeah. But brand awareness of actually the importance of having because like you're teaching me a lot today. I didn't know how much like products can affect definitely children. So is that what you're more doing, like teaching
Absolutely.
at these
The
events?
sip and seeds, there are a teaching experience. Of course, I do gift some of my product to some people, but it's also a wonderful selling opportunity. A lot of the women that do come to these events are prominent business women who own their own establishments and things like that. So it's a wonderful networking opportunity. It's a wonderful opportunity to come and learn more about the brand and absolutely the importance of how to care for melanated skin because it's different in comparison to all the products that are out there on the market. I love what has happened in the past 20 years with beauty and skincare and how inclusive it is. But melanated skin just needs something different.
Got it. I agree. I agree. So you said you go into like a lot of expos because we actually met at InvestFest. So talk about that experience of going to those big events where you're meeting, thousands of people in a day.
Yeah, for sure. Those type of events are honestly it ignites the fire again because these are the same exact people that are just like me honestly but maybe a different industry or a different lane but they believe that much in themselves that they're willing to make the investment, they're willing to make that leap of faith and that kind of jump. And I just want to be around dreamers all the time. That's like the kind of energy and the kind of vibe that I thrive in, that I love, and it really helps me to continue to fight and to continue to be the entrepreneur that I am. I tried the online sales thing, I tried the ads thing, but I feel like expos are the perfect way to like not only network with people, but really get to talk one on one with people about your brand and honestly what inspired it. The expo for me was amazing. I met people who wanted to intern for the company. I met a lot of people who were journalists who wrote for different publications. I met you. It was a wonderful experience for me overall. On the back office side, there are definitely some things that could be improved and changed. But overall, InvestFest definitely met the intention of just bringing the awareness to our demographic of people about the importance of being good money managers.
Okay. So what is one thing that you learned there from the other vendors or people that came up to you? Because one thing that I learned is that I have to be more bold and outspoken because I'm more of like an introvert, trying to be by myself. But this event, all these people, like I had to go up to you to talk to you to introduce myself. So I had to go out to introduce myself to everybody, and that pretty much I learned about your network, like how important it is the people that you have in your network. So, but what is something that you learned at this event from not even from the vendors, from the people, just in general?
Yes, the importance of investing in your customer experience. Like I didn't have the booth that I had originally selected, so I wasn't able to provide the full customer experience to really bring people in. That is the probably the biggest takeaway that I had because they had some crazy setups, at the expo. It's literally like parades of people coming through. It's like TV, like people had moving backpacks and the billboards. It was crazy with the amount of marketing that I saw. So I definitely walked away with a lot of PR marketing and a much more bigger, broader emphasis on the customer experience for sure.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And speak about actually, because I actually looked a little bit on your story that you actually do some of these events with your son. So speak about that of having a product not just to help your son, but also be able to do it with him.
For sure. It's so cool to see him just excited about his skin. I feel like that's just one of the things that just isn't talked about often. I think Joel ZTV has this song called I Love My Melanin, and he literally loves it. It's like a black man on there just talking about how much he loves his melanin and his skin. And I just firmly believe that, your hair is your crown of glory and your skin is the armor that you wear when you go out into the world. So seeing my son confident, especially the child that they said wasn't going to live, to see another day that, he has autism, he's not going to be great. But for him to see him go out there and be a businessman, and try to come up with concepts or ideas or recommendations. It just lights my heart, and it just puts another fire underneath my butt that you can't tell me there's nothing that I can't do. You know, my son is still here. He's making boss decisions. Like, he has incredible examples of what it means to continue fighting on. So it's like a vicious, infinite cycle of I cannot give up. I cannot quit.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. That's like that definitely has to be amazing. Just like I said, you're actually creating it with for him, for him to do it. Like that's definitely amazing to see.
Mhm.
Um, but so just my last question. So creating this product, and actually, wow, I'm all messed up. Creating this product and more like educating everybody. Well, what do you see as next for you? Because like we went from selling. What do you think is like your next thing? It doesn't have to be something you're doing now, but like just envision what you're going to do next with this product.
The next thing is stores. It's national distribution. We went through all these trials and these tribulations to really honestly learn it from the ground up. That way we can own 100% of the process from beginning to end. So it's large scale distribution nationally, hopefully internationally. In the next 5 years is definitely my goal. But large scale distribution is definitely what's up next for us.
I love it, and definitely internationally because you're going to go there. If they got to say, come to Costa Rica, you going to come and get it on the shelves.
For sure, for sure. Like, that was why I have to do the due diligence in the front. I want to make sure it passed whatever standard of beauty internationally. Like, I know America has its laws and its rules, but I want to know, what does clean beauty look like internationally, and knowing that up front really helped prepare me so that I can make that jump today if I needed to, if I got the opportunity. I just want to be prepared.
Perfect, perfect. I love it. And I do appreciate you coming on the show. Do you have one last motivation gem that you want to share with the audience?
Oh, wow. Just because it's starting off ugly don't mean it's not going to end beautifully. Literally, like,
I love it.
the most, I'm trying to tell you, like, I literally just opened my business 3 months and then COVID happened. I literally, like, all these years, I've literally been vlogging for years, talking about my transition, getting into this space. Here I am ready. I have my own spa, and COVID happens. It forced the doors of my business to close, and almost sent me to a depression. Like, if I'm just going to be honest, like, you work so hard for all these things, and then it was just another door, another window that got open and was just saying, you're thinking too small. You're thinking services. It could be this and services and this and that. I didn't know all the ands that God had for me. So don't let the beautiful, mess, what looks tragic to you, it may not be tragic. It could really just be a beautiful mess. You may have to sort through a little bit of it, but everything you're gonna use, it's gonna everything that happened to you, you're going to use again in your life, and you're gonna be so grateful that it happened then and not now.
I love it. That was amazing. That was definitely amazing. So the last thing, just share all your socials, your websites, where to find you, how to contact you, all of that.
Yes, for sure. So, well, you can definitely find Tiny Human Skincare at Tiny Human Skin on every social media platform. That's LinkedIn, that's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's TikTok. And the same for myself, Simply Liz Love, simplelizlove.com, and at Simply Liz Love on every social media platform: Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I talk back. That's the best way for me to honestly, the best way for me to get my attention is to either slide me a DM or preferably an email.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Liz. I definitely appreciate it. I enjoyed this. I learned a lot. Making sure I'm gonna read those labels, and I'm not gonna just be.
For sure, for sure. Thank you so much for having me, and I'll chat with you later.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thanks a lot for listening, guys. My name is Jelan Abrams. Liz Love. We'll see you next week.